I'm going to say this without a stutter. You will not meet a more selfless individual in your entire life.
One of the things that is super important about this profession is communication.
I think financial planning fees are going to moon, if you will.
I look at running a marathon very similar to a person's 401k.
For any of those aspiring advisors out there, where you are may not be where you end up, and that's perfectly okay.
I love that.
Welcome to the latest episode of Q&A. I'm your host, Tyrone Ross. For all of the health and fitness gurus out there, this episode is for you. This is my conversation with Ari Baum from Endurance Wealth Partners. Health is indeed wealth. Enjoy the conversation. I will see you on the next one. All right, welcome back to this episode of Q&A, and the A is for advisors. And with me today, Ari Baum. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. You dressed up for the occasion. Look very clean. I appreciate it.
Thank you. We clean up nice.
Do clean up nice. We were talking about running, avid runner.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I do a lot of marathons and triathlons.
Okay.
That's my my passion that I tie into my my practice, and
Yeah.
you know, sports leads into life.
Now, just so you all know, Ari referred to the New York Marathon as a 26.2 mile block party. Never heard that before, but please explain that.
Yes.
I've yet to do one.
Absolutely. So I encourage anyone and everyone, if you're ever thinking about doing a marathon, New York City is the place to be. It is literally a 26.2 mile block party. You know, if you ever want to get an experience of what The Rock feels like when he's about to do a movie premiere,
Yeah.
you come down the 59th Street Bridge onto First Avenue, and there's just a wall of noise of people cheering for you.
Yeah.
You feel like a superstar.
Yeah.
You know, so I encourage anyone and everyone, sign up for the New York City Marathon.
Especially the people that have to drive down the 59th Street Bridge every day. You should just run that and figure out what that's like.
You know, with the traffic in New York City, it might actually be a little bit quicker than driving down, so it could be good.
All right. So before we dig in here, there's so much to cover. I was privy to your question, so you have an awesome question that I can't wait to answer. But tell the folks a little bit about you, what you do, why you do it, how you do it.
Okay, so I am the founder and CEO of Endurance Wealth Partners.
Okay.
It's a wealth management firm that I started 8 years ago after spending about 25 years on Wall Street. And it really marries together health and wealth.
Love it.
You know, I tell people, what's the point of having money if you're not healthy enough to enjoy it?
Yep.
So we work with our clients in developing generational wealth. You know, let them reach what we call a work optional lifestyle.
Right.
If you like working and you want to give back, great, but you don't have to work to pay the bills.
Yep.
And we marry that with being healthy and active.
I love it.
So a lot of our meetings don't take place in the traditional boardroom. I go on walks, bike rides, and runs with my clients.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That needs to happen more.
It does.
Right? It needs to happen more for advisors and because, you know, health is wealth. Is it really? Right? Like, we should include that as part of our planning and how we work with clients. But also, I think it should be a big part of industry conferences, along with a bunch of other stuff, but integrating that into the conference experience, because I don't think that advisors are the healthiest cohort. The bars are usually full, but the gym is empty at 5 a.m. in the morning from my experience.
100%. It's funny, when I go down to conferences,
Yeah.
I usually link up with a bunch of other advisors,
Yeah.
and we'll go to the gym, we'll get to the treadmill. One conference in particular that I won't name at this time, you know, I accidentally cut through the lobby, and during cocktail hour,
Yeah.
you saw me in my bathing suit and my towel.
Nice.
you know, HR didn't like it so much, but it definitely sent the message that there's more to these conferences than just drinking and staying up late.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that is a great segue
Thank you.
into your question, which when I saw the question, I'm like, this is awesome, because again, something that we always talk about, those of us that are fitness, you know, gurus, if you will, or junkies. But ask your question and we'll get right to it.
Sure. So my question kind of came after looking you up in your background, because
Yeah.
you were an Olympic qualifier as
Yeah.
well, and a runner. So one of the things that clients are always looking for is that immediate gratification,
Yes.
right? Whether it's buying a stock, you know, you buy it on Monday, you want it to go up on Tuesday. And I look at that much like going to the gym.
Yep.
You go to the gym on Monday, you know, as you could tell by my physical appearance, when I flex in the mirror, there's not much to, you know, really be impressed by.
Very lean and slender. It's a good look for you.
Exactly.
You're wearing that gray.
So with your experience and your background, tell me a little bit about your thoughts about the connection between going to the gym and not seeing immediate results
Yep.
to the parallels to long-term investing.
Man, I have so many feelings about this, and it brings up so many emotions, right? So those that don't know, my dream was to become an Olympian, and that dream is never going to come true. But when you chase your dreams, you get really cool opportunities like this where I'm sitting right now. So for all of those out there, especially those of you that are young, chase your dreams. Anybody, chase your dreams. Even if you fall short, there's dreams on the other, new dreams on the other side of what you deem to be failure. What I always told people was, when you're training to be an Olympian, you train for 4 years with no applause, no hand clapping, no one telling you great job. It's day in, day out for 4 years of nothing, right? And then you get one shot to live your dream. And with that comes a lot of, can I do the same thing every day, right? Have a level of commitment that never wavers for an outcome that I may not see yet. Kind of sounds like retirement planning, right?
That's exactly it.
So that's the first thing that I say. It's that, can I do it the same way every day, right? The true definition of commitment is, can you keep that same level of fervor long after it's left your mouth that you're going to lose weight, I'm going to save for retirement, I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to become an Olympian, right? So I think that part of it is very important, right? And then you start to get into the compounding effect of doing something over and over and over again, right? So once I qualified for the trials in 2004, I was 24 years old. That was kind of a tailwind of the prior 11 years. I started running when I was 13, so I just need to be in the right situation to hit it. Now at 28 and 32, it was, now I have the building blocks of having done it once. That foundation, now I can layer on some other things, sleep, nutrition, so on and so forth. Again, going back to planning, let's just figure out personal finance and saving and budgeting, and then we'll start to layer on investing, tax planning, and everything else. So that's one bucket. The other bucket is for those of you that, again, don't struggle with diets. A diet is just simply a framework. Again, it's a plan. But what you'll start to notice is, and I did a really strict diet this past summer, and I was really counting my macros for the first time. And there was a point there, it was like 2 or 3 weeks, I didn't see any change. And I was frustrated because I'm like, I was literally counting the number of almonds I was eating.
Oh my God.
15, right? I could only have 15 almonds. And
Oh,
I'm
you're
like,
disciplined.
I'm eating 15 almonds a day and I'm not seeing it. The week after, it was kind of like, right? Like I went in the machine and came out. 2 things to that. One is, it's that chopping at the oak every day, right? Do you want $1 million now or a penny a day, right? And then once you start to see results, as you know, what happens? You start to dig in. You like that feeling, right? I'm not giving this up. And I say all the time, nothing feels better than being fit feels. Nothing, nothing.
Correct.
When you are fit and you know you're strong, you're fast, than you've ever been. And that's relative to yourself, not anyone else. And I think the last thing I'll say, I think translating this to how we work with clients is, it's very important for folks to understand your goals, right? If you were to race me in the 400 meters, I'd probably win. If we were to run 26.2 miles, you would win by a very large margin, right? Because you have your space where you fit in, leaning into your unique personalities and skills and things that are unique to you, which is why as advisors, what do? We sit down with clients and figure out what is unique to you. Man, you're an avid saver, okay? You're a spendthrift, right? Right? Like you have a particular expertise around technology, which probably means what? You are probably overweight technology stocks and the company where you work.
Correct.
You are a young startup founder, entrepreneur. You take on way too much risk, right? But how do we change that lens so that it becomes a strength? So the beauty of your question is, I find it hard to separate the tenets and core principles of being healthy and the core tenets and principles of being financially healthy, right? So I think they're kind of the same things, but we'll love your perspective on that.
Yeah. I have many conversations with clients about this, and I'll go back to running a marathon. I look at running a marathon very similar to a person's 401k. I'm fortunate to sit down with clients that might have that $1 million, $2 million, $3 or $4 million in their 401k or in their retirement plan. Now, for a person that is younger, starting out, they can't imagine having that much money because they've never had it before. Much like a person that never ran a marathon can't even contemplate running 26.2 miles.
Right.
So what I explain to them is that you're right, no one can run 26.2 miles. But you can run 1 mile 26.2 times.
There you go.
And it's the same thing with investing for retirement. You know, you're not going to be able to save $1 million in one shot.
Yep.
But if you invest a little every year or every month, and if you're fortunate that you work at a company that has some kind of profit sharing, guess what? They're throwing a tailwind at you or free speed, you'll be able to get there over time. So it's the discipline, which is likely what enabled you to run, I think you told me it was like 45.9, 45.93 as a 400.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine. I could ride my bike that fast, but I can't run that fast.
Yeah.
Much like how people can't even imagine driving 26.2 miles.
Exactly.
So what I've recognized is in order to accomplish these superhuman feats of running a marathon or saving millions of dollars for retirement, is that first, you have to make it easy.
Yep.
You know, if you started your first run and you tried running 400 meters in 45 seconds, if you were able to do it without any practice, would you ever want to do it again?
No.
Why not?
It hurts.
Exactly. Same thing. If you tell a person to save more than they're able to, it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt, yeah.
And they're not going to want to continue.
Yep.
So it's just about starting slow and easy.
Yeah.
Going with what you feel comfortable with, because exactly to your point, you'll compound on that.
Yep.
So I tell people, start with $50. Start with $25.
Yep.
You don't feel, skip Starbucks for a week, right?
Yep.
Go for it. And then once you start saving 25, guess what? You can save 50. Then you could raise it to 75 and 100, and you're on your way.
Right.
That's the best part.
Yep. And I think what you've kind of alluded to there, which I want to draw out a little bit, it's, right, start where your feet are. Where are you? And wherever you are, you have to acknowledge it's okay. I'm overweight. I'm not financially savvy. I don't have enough in savings. Great. Acknowledge it. Then the next step is, what habit can I begin to change?
Correct.
To change that for myself, right? And then what do those outcomes look like?
Correct.
Because it's easy to say, right? But it's definitely not easy to do, as I think you would agree, and you from working with clients and just yourself. It is very hard to do something painful and boring every day, all day, right? What are your thoughts around that?
No, you know, I'm going to give you a personal story with a client of mine that changed my life.
Yeah.
This was an individual that was in his early 60s, and he called me up and he was asking me, should I take Social Security early?
Yeah.
You know, and he was a very successful lawyer, you know, the dream, right? Millions of dollars, able to retire and do whatever he wants. And he goes to me, and I explained to him mathematically, as most advisors do, look, every year you wait to take Social Security, you're going to get an 8% bump in the amount that you receive. So if you could afford to wait, why not wait? And his response to me opened up my eyes, in that he said, Ari, I'll be lucky if I make it to 66. And when I'm, you know, sitting down with him, you know, he was a slightly larger individual. And he said to me, he goes, I used to be like you. You know, I used to be a swimmer when I was in college. I was a lifeguard. He goes, you don't realize when you're working all these years, you're gaining 2 pounds this year, 3 pounds next year. You know, you're working hard. You're chasing after the success, but you don't realize the pounds that add up over the years. And he said, look at me now.
Right.
Now, I've been doing this for so long. This is who I've become. So I said, we're going to make a change. And he goes, what's that? I said, tomorrow you're coming with me to the gym. He goes, what? I said, you're going to come with me to the gym. And because you're a millionaire, I know you're so cheap that my gym will give you a free membership for a week. He goes, sold.
I love it.
So
I love it.
I took him with me to the gym.
Yeah.
And he said, let's get in the pool. I said, okay. And he goes, if you laugh at me without my shirt, you're fired. I said, okay, no, I'm not. I said, I would never.
Right.
You know, I'm so appreciative of you willing to start.
Yep.
You know, he got in the pool. He was moving around for a little bit. Then he goes, Ari, let's have a race. I said, excuse me? A race? He goes, we're going to swim one length of the pool, from one end to the other. I'm not talking 50 or 100 laps, one end of the pool to the other. And he goes, and if you're holding back, you're fired. I said, I've never been, you know, threatened to be fired because I beat someone, you know, in a swim, but I'm like, okay.
And if he beats you, you reduce his fee.
Exactly. You know, so I said, what do I get if I win, right? So we had the swim, and he did beat me. You know, that's a testament to how bad of a swimmer I am. It's more, you know, swimming is one of those things where it's about technique and form.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't muscle your way through it. And he was gliding through that water like a fish.
Right.
You know, he said whale, I said fish, different, you know. But when he got to the end of the pool, he was huffing and puffing.
Yep.
He thought he was going to have a heart attack. But what it did was that it lit a spark inside of him.
Yep.
and he still goes back to the pool today and he's still swimming.
That's awesome.
And he says, I'm never going to get back to what I was, but you literally added years to my life.
Right.
And that to me is what this industry kind of has to shift into.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about standing on your, you know, at your gravesite saying, hey, Mr. Jones outlived his money.
Yeah.
He didn't have to lean on people. It's about actually enjoying the journey and getting some benefits and I would say, what's the word I'm looking for? Outside of benefits, just some good feelings.
Yeah.
That you've done more than just worked and came home.
That's an awesome story. Thanks for sharing that. Double fist pump on that. That was awesome.
Yes.
So I want to get into this before we run out of time here. And I want to ask you this because to me, right, being someone who can, you know, train 7 days a week and maniacal about my fitness and nutrition, I have found, and again, I've kind of found, you know, fell into this realm of just crypto is my thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never really integrated my passion for fitness and health into, you know, my practice, and I will with this new RA that I'm starting. But even for me, I go, how do you even start that, right? And I imagine the name of your firm, right, is kind of integrated well, so it lets folks know. But talk a little bit about that for myself and any other advisor watching. It's like, man, I like to work out, right? But I also love working with clients. And I think what you said is very pivotal. It's one thing to say, Mr. and Mrs. Client, you went from $500,000, now you have $5 million, you can retire, go wherever you want. That's really cool, right? I went through that at Merrill Lynch. It was an awesome thing. I remember having a client cry because we were able to tell her she could retire. But it's another thing to say, you helped me live longer to enjoy the money that I literally sacrificed my health for, that now I get to enjoy. So talk about that. How would an advisor or advisor start, you know, integrating that into their practice?
Yeah, so for myself, the name of my firm is called Endurance Wealth Partners. And it literally takes, you know, it pays respect to what it takes to endure, to get through. So much like going to the gym, you know, you might flex muscles you never even knew you had.
Yeah.
Then,
Well, if not, you'll feel them.
Exactly. Like in the marathon, you're sore in places you didn't even know were part of your body.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when it comes to saving and investing. You have to flex a new muscle.
Yeah.
And sometimes it hurts. What I found is that it's good to start slow because it's just like going to the gym. If you push too hard in the gym on Monday, on Tuesday, you're going to be so sore you're not going to want to go back on Wednesday. You know, and it's the same thing whether you're looking at, you know, investing in a stock, a bond, a cryptocurrency, or
Appreciate you for that reference.
You know,
I was hoping you would get into that.
Gotcha.
Hopefully start with crypto first next time.
It's all good. You know, but what it is that you're flexing a new muscle.
Yeah.
You know, cryptocurrency is what I would call a new asset class.
Yep.
You know, I look at everything, you know, let's look at everything kind of like a bell curve. Let's chop off the extremes.
Yeah.
And then we could have like a great conversation. You know, I'll focus on crypto for you. You know, I don't subscribe to the belief that crypto is going to replace the dollar as the world reserve currency.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because if cryptocurrency were to replace the US dollar and the US government were to go out of business, how would you be able to turn on your computer?
Yeah.
There would be no Wi-Fi.
Good point.
So,
point. To Satoshi. For you. Good point.
So I'll say, let's put that on the side for a minute. You know, just to the other extreme that people have with cryptocurrency is that cryptocurrency is something that has created a lot of wealth very quickly for people.
Yep.
Unfortunately
Like
now,
fat burners.
Exactly. you know, you can get on a diet really quick and lose weight.
Yep.
But then what's the problem? What happens when you get off the diet?
Yeah.
The weight balloons back.
Yep.
So I tell people never take things to an extreme.
Yep.
You know, have that conversation with a professional to see if it makes sense to have it as a piece of your portfolio. Now, naturally, don't take all your money and put it into it because, you know, it's feast or famine. But I tell people it is like working out for the first time. There's going to be a lot of trials and tribulations that cryptocurrencies go through.
Yep.
You know, some cryptocurrencies will survive, many will not.
Yep.
You know, so you have to be really thoughtful about where it could be.
Yeah.
You know, in your portfolio, much like real estate, it's all about location.
Yep. Yep. And for those of you watching, you are sorely mistaken if I'm not going to work crypto into every conversation. Glass blowing, working out, we get to crypto some way, somehow. It all ties in. So we are coming to a close here, and I think one of the things that we all are excited about here at Nasdaq and myself is the fact that these are conversations for advisors by advisors, right? Our opinions, our thoughts, our perspectives. So Don't. This is a very softball question. Don't worry. I see you. Like
Okay.
you're getting. Your,
Now I'm ready.
Yeah,
It's like the start of a race.
Yeah,
It's like,
you're leaning
we're
in.
done.
You're leaning in. But I think one of, as we discussed prior to this, I think one of the aims that we all want here, myself and the folks at Nasdaq, to get across is, one, for advisors to feel comfortable having conversations with one another. The industry is changing to have open dialogue, right, with you in your very sleek suit, and the gentleman with jeans and a t-shirt, but also for those that are watching that may want to say, you know what, it's time for me to start working with an advisor. What does that look like, and so on and so forth. So I want to ask you this. There's clearly some shifts going on in our industry. Lots of young investors that own crypto and doing things that are happening away from traditional wealth management. What are you seeing, right, just in terms of in your practice, kids of clients, right, as the industry shifts, that you feel like every advisor should know as they start to either submit a question or starts to grow their practice in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I think that the industry has certainly changed. You know, by some metrics, I'm a dinosaur because I've been doing this for 25 years.
Yeah.
When I started out, it was, you know, stocks and bonds.
Yep.
You know, there were very few, if any, alternative asset classes. You know, hedge funds weren't as popular as they are today. You know, cryptocurrency is starting to make an entranceway. So what I tell people is you have to embrace that things are evolving, right?
Yes.
There was
Great point.
there was a time in this world where we used to travel by horses,
Yeah.
but now we have cars.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe in the future we're going to have flying cars.
Yeah.
You know, I tell people, don't be afraid of change.
Yep.
You know, where I see people going off the rails is if they leap before they look.
Yep.
You know, and while you're going to be faced with not just cryptocurrencies, like I hate to say this, who knows what's going to happen in 20 years from now, what the investment landscape is going to look like.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with it. Just embrace it, learn about it, read. And I don't mean watching a 30-second TikTok or Instagram reel to understand what it is.
You mean 30-minute episodes of Q&A?
That's exactly
There
what
you
I'm
go.
going for.
Appreciate you.
You know, you have to actually roll up your sleeves and do your work.
Yep.
You know, you can't fake it.
Yeah.
You know, you can't fake your way through a marathon. You know, you have to put in the work. And if you put in the work, you know, there may be a piece of your portfolio where it makes sense for. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. But it's only through pushing past our limits that we see what we're capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. So this sprint of an episode has come to an end. Ari, thank you so much for joining me. Again, this is a conversation that is truly about what we do as advisors. Health is wealth. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. Ari, thank you for being here. We'll see you on the next one. I appreciate you.